Okay, I'm here to present this research titled The Influence of Molybdenum and Tungsten on Chromium oxide reactivity in propane activation. Here's my presentation outline. Propane dehydrogenation is simply the abstraction of hydrogen from propane in order to produce propylene. This process involves the breaking of carbon-hydrogen bond and formation of carbon-carbon bond and formation of hydrogen-hydrogen bond. The significance of this step or this process can never be overemphasized simply because the end product of this process is one of the most significant feedstock in the entire petrochemical industries, simply because this product finds application in different petrochemical plants, as displayed in figure 1. You can see that this process helps in adding value to the initial raw materials that goes in as LPG, which end up finding application in the production of plastic, alcohol, polymers, etc. This process is highly known to be endothermic, and it can be produced by the use of FCC and steam cracking method as well, outside the use of the on-purpose techniques, which is the dehydrogenation of propane. The rising demand of propylene in the market, especially for the petrochemical industries, is necessitating the need for the improvement in these techniques of producing this propylene, in terms of exploring the advantage that some catalysts might offer. And existing technology displayed in table 1, where you could see the use of platinum and chromium oxide was found to be dominant in the existing plant, which are widely distributed across the globe, as shown in figure 3. Nevertheless, these catalysts were found to have been to be highly active, but were found to be of low selectivity and engage in rapid deactivation. Researchers over the years have been employing the use of experimental and computational approach in addressing this problem. Some of the works that have tried to employ the use of computational approach are presented in table 2. However, no works has been able to attempt to provide information on the role played by the introduction of molybdenum and tungsten in altering the performance of chromium oxide in the production of propylene via the use of dehydrogenation of propane. Our study tries to employ the use of PM3 in order to evaluate the adsorption of the isopropyl and also the activation energy for the propane activation. This study further evaluates the influence of the acidity on the propane activation process. The list of material used in this study are presented in table 3, and figure 4 shows the different reaction pathway that were being evaluated in this study. And figure 3 shows the different structures in terms of the probes, the cluster, and the species involved in this study. Method employed in the computation of activation energy is displayed in figure 6, while the adsorption energy calculation approach is displayed in figure 7. The correlation of the adsorption energy, the energy gap, acidity, activation energy was being used to evaluate the performance of the modified catalyst, and the relation that exists between these parameters were being carried out, analyzed. The result obtained indicates that oxygen and chromium-oxide pathway was found to be more feasible for the activation of propane across P1, that's across the alpha carbon, that is the C1. While with the introduction of molybdenum on the surface of this catalyst, chromium and oxygen side was still found to be the most feasible part, although it was observed that the introduction of molybdenum on this surface increases the activation energy. Though with the introduction of tungsten on the surface, the activation of the propane at the alpha carbon, that's the C1, was still found to be feasible, although in this case it happens to be tungsten and oxide surface that was found to be more feasible, unlike the other surfaces that found oxygen chromium oxide to be feasible. So the introduction of propane, the introduction of molybdenum on this chromium oxide reduces the binding strength for the isopropyl, unlike the introduction of tungsten, which increases the adsorption strength, that's the binding strength. So the higher, the more negative the energy, the stronger the binding force. The overall evaluation of the relation that exists between these parameters, the reactivity and the acidity, were evaluated via the use of correlation coefficient, which indicate that all were positive and was significant. It was positive, which indicate that a direct relation. The direct relation, established relation, which was graphically presented in figure 11. As you can see, for activation energy, for acidity, when ammonia is used as a probe and when pyridine is used as a probe, and this one for adsorption energy, while this for energy gap. The study of propane activation mechanism indicate that the introduction of tungsten will be thermodynamically feasible more than that of the molybdenum. And the study of the adsorption acidity indicate that the introduction of tungsten increases the adsorption strength and the acidity, although it decreases the stability when the molybdenum does otherwise in all cases. So while the relationship that exists between the acidity and reactivity across this chromium-based oxide catalyst was found to be direct due to the positive R-square value obtained and positive good R-square value obtained and the positive correlation coefficient that were recorded in this study. The use of adsorption energy as reactivity descriptor was found to be good due to the good correlation that was found for the acidity, for the adsorption to the activation energy in this study. Tungsten was found to be more promising for the promotion of propane activation. Based on this study, I wish to acknowledge the support of PTD of Abuja, Nigeria, Department of Chemical Engineering, ABU Zaria, my parents, spouse, siblings, friends, and well-wishers support. Thank you. The list of my references. Thank you for your attention.